Stoicism is more than just a philosophy. It's a set of useful tools for dealing with life's ups and downs. This is about developing a way of thinking that helps you not only survive life, but also thrive in it.
Did I really just compare SAT word and context problems to an ancient Greek philosophy that teaches us to focus on the things we can control and not those things we can't? I did do that. I cannot help but think about these problems in that light. Word and context problems, part of it you can control and part of it you can't. For example, suppose I sit down to my SAT and the very first problem on the reading and writing exam is a word and context problem with the following 4 National Spelling Bee Championship words. That would be bad. Oh no. What would you do? Well, this highlights a point. You can't control that. Now, that's an extreme exaggerated case, but who hasn't sat there and not known the definition of a few of the words in the answer choices? No matter how good your assessment of the meaning of the word in the context is, you still have to know and match to the meaning of the words in the answer choices, which you can't control. So that's why we're going to spend our time focusing on how do we improve our understanding of the meaning and context? How do we focus on what we can control? And then at the very end, we'll come back because there are a couple things we can do by assessing the answer choices, even if we run into, well, maybe not this nightmare case, but a case where a word or two you don't understand. The best way to approach word and context problems is to read the text carefully, figure out what the relationship of ideas is, and predict a word to fill in the blank, and then try to match that with the answer choices. You could go the reverse order, as many students do, by plugging in the answers, only that's going to focus on whether it sounds good, not so much the meaning, which could lead to mistakes. Sometimes you don't know the meanings of the words, and in those cases you can play positive, negative. So you still might know a word is positive or negative or neutral, and you can use that to help answer. But the best way is to try to predict the answer choice. That fundamentally comes down to finding the meaning in the context. There are going to be ideas in the text that are either similar to the underlying word or they're different, contrasting the underlying word. We can find similarity with clues like the colon. After the colon follows examples or an elaboration of the missing word beforehand. So canon derives its power in part from the tension among his something influences. Well, examples of those are classic European portraiture, American pop art, flat style intertribal painting. These are all different types of art. So we're looking for a word that's different or varied. Well, that's simply disparate. That's the best meaning. Other types of punctuation that will help are semicolons. Remember, they have to be related sentences, or parentheticals within commas or long dashes. Again, they can provide extra information that helps us understand the meaning of the word. Likewise, we can see transition words, indeed, in fact, that emphasize an idea and give us the meaning relative to another part of the text, or maybe as such, an example. Use these word clues to find the positive similar ideas. Another example is pronoun clues. Pronouns always refer back to antecedents. So this rejection in the text refers back to the missing word. So that word must mean rejection or repudiates. On the other hand, the meaning for the missing word might be set up by a contrast. Different ideas that are setting up the right meaning. Though a contrasting transition word here, many studies of high altitude, there is a blank studies at below sea level. So contrasting, many studies high altitude, few studies below sea level or low altitude. This is setting up a contrasting idea. And we would generally look for contrasting transitions. While, whereas, however, but, there are less punctuations that provide contrast as much as there is transition words. So those can provide clues. But in either case, Make sure you're proactive with the text in trying to identify the right ideas to either match or contrast with the missing word. And this is one place where vocabulary might come in on the exam. If you don't understand the meaning of a word, very importantly, do not eliminate that word. Just because you don't know the meaning does not mean it's wrong. It's possible the words you know are almost certainly wrong. So that certainty outweighs the uncertainty of not knowing the other word, and you may end up choosing it as a result.